A word of warning before the projector rolls. Every title below is so blisteringly authentic that battle-hardened vets have bolted from theaters in cold sweat. If the folks who've already seen the worst humanity can dish out can't bear these reels, imagine what you're about to feel strapped to your couch. Lock the doors, kill the lights, and keep a towel handy. Sweaty palms are guaranteed. 1. The Deer Hunter, 1978. Michael Cimino's 3-hour epic lulls you with polka tunes and rolling rocks at a blue-collar Pennsylvania wedding, then sucker punches you into POW cages where Russian roulette chambers click louder than artillery. Vietnam vets at early screenings staggered out as soon as John Cazale's character jokes about one shot, saying the abrupt pivot from Coal Town camaraderie to jungle trauma mirrored their own week one shock. Robert De Niro refused prop revolvers. He loaded one live round, spun the cylinder himself, and pulled the trigger take after take, forcing co-star John Savage's terror into documentary territory. A Marine technical advisor quit on the spot, calling the gamble tempting fate for an Oscar. Shot for $15 million, the film bagged 5, including Best Picture. Yet the real trophy is its aftershock. Decades later, therapists still cite the roulette scene as shorthand for survivors' guilt. The movie's slow burn, from steel mill to Saigon dive bar, leaves a raw psychological weld scar that never cools. 2. Apocalypse Now, 1979. Francis Ford Coppola's Riverborn fever dream crackles with such chaotic authenticity that Vietnam vets at the 1979 Cannes screening bolted during Colonel Kilgore's helicopter blitz, Wagner thundering, rotor wash, sand-blasting faces, claiming it felt like time travel with the safety switched off. Coppola hired Philippine Air Force pilots fresh from real anti-insurgency sorties. They skimmed treetops so low, the cameraman's lenses dusted palm fronds. Real napalm canisters vaporized jungle patches, shrinking the production's insurance policy faster than the script, which rewrote itself daily. Martin Sheen's infamous mirror punch wasn't scripted. Fueled by brandy and exhaustion, he sliced his hand to the bone and kept snarling, while the crew wrapped it in hotel linens. Coppola rolled on, medic stitching just off screen. Budget overruns ballooned to $31 million, hearts cracked and sanity frayed. But the payoff is an hallucinatory war opera, whose sweat, smoke, and madness remain indistinguishable from combat footage. The realism cost blood. The result seared itself into collective memory. 3. Come and See, 1985. Elim Klimov's blistering Belarusian Hell March makes Saving Private Ryan look like Saturday morning cartoons. 16-year-old partisan Floria, played by non-actor Alexei Kravchenko, plows through ankle-deep mud, maggoted cow corpses, and wholesale genocide until his baby face ages a decade before your eyes. Klimov's vow of authenticity bordered on madness. Live rounds whizzed inches overhead, while crew hid steel plates just outside the frame. Kravchenko's screams after one ricochet are real, captured in a single, nerve-shredding take. For the barn-burning massacre, Klimov rear-projected uncensored Nazi newsreels onto smoke inside the set, turning the flames into a living cinema of atrocity. Soviet veterans at the 1986 Moscow premiere sobbed, some yelling, "Turn it off," and stumbling into the lobby. Shot on a shoestring but with limitless moral capital, the film still screens in Belarus for anti-war education. Medics stand by just in case. Result? A 142-minute descent so raw, it feels less viewed than survived. Proof that war on film can still wound long after the projector stops. 4th Platoon, 1986. Oliver Stone poured his own Vietnam combat diary onto 35mm. Actors endured 2-week boot camp. No showers, 4 hours sleep, live ammo blanks at 3 a.m. Result? Sweat-soaked paranoia you can smell. At the premiere, Vietnam vets bailed during the firefight, where Willem Dafoe's Elias spirals in strobe-lit terror. One later wrote Stone, saying the muzzle flashes triggered a 15-year dormant panic attack. Stone hired real tunnel rat Dale Dye to drill cast. Dye cameoed as Captain Harris and barked, "You ladies are turning me into a cannibal," whenever takes felt soft. Shot for $6 million in Filipino jungle steam, It clawed back $140 million and rewired the American war movie template. Every leaf fluttered with menace. Every shadow could be Charlie. Stone wanted viewers to exit smelling napalm. Many vets simply exited. 5. Full Metal Jacket, 1987. Kubrick split Vietnam into two nightmares: Paris Island brainwashing and Hue City apocalypse. Marine advisors expected toned-down drill instructor tirades. R. Lee Ermey went off-script 80% of the time. Kubrick kept rolling. Real Marines at early screenings walked out during the soap and sock blanket party, saying the helpless thrashing dredged up barracks memories better left buried. Kubrick shot 200 takes of the sniper duel. The slow, metallic ping of an empty magazine is identical to the M14 sound Marines still hear in sleep. Trivia: London's Beckton Gasworks doubled for Vietnam ruins. Kubrick imported 200 palm trees from Spain, then shelled them with diesel-fueled charges to mimic Marine flamethrowers. The authenticity tally? Priceless psychological shrapnel. 6. Saving Private Ryan, 1998. Steven Spielberg kicked off with the Normandy landing and never let your stomach unclench. The first 20 minutes are a retina-searing mortar storm. Handheld shakiness, exploding squibs that fire real sand in actors' faces, an audio mix of eardrum-rupturing whines that mimic temporary deafness. Outside preview screenings, WDUC-2 vets reportedly staggered into lobbies weeping. One Medal of Honor recipient walked out muttering, "I'm back on Omaha and I smell cordite." Spielberg insisted on no storyboards, just D-Day chaos captured with desaturated bleach bypass film to leach out Hollywood gloss. Veteran consultants begged him to dial it down. He added more tracer fire instead. Budgeted at $70 million, it won 5 Oscars and a permanent spot on the VA's trigger warning watch list. If you make it past the beach, the church steeple sniper shot might still nail you to your seat. Black Hawk Down, 2001. Ridley Scott recreated the 1993 Mogadishu firefight almost in real time. Rangers who survived the actual battle served as extras. Several walked off set when live fire blanks and Little Bird rotor wash resurrected the chaos. In finished screenings, Somalia vets reportedly puked during the cliffside casualty rope lift. Scott used 11 active-duty Delta operators as technical staff. They demanded faster muzzle climb and hotter brass, so Scott swapped Hollywood blanks for NATO spec charges. Budget $92 million, box office $173 million, plus a recruitment spike the Pentagon didn't publicly track. If the twanging ricochet sounds feel too real, that's because they're sampled from actual helmet cam audio. 8. The Hurt Locker, 2008. Catherine Bigelow's bomb disposal pressure cooker nails Iraq's tense quiet. EOD veterans claim their pulse spiked to deployment levels when Jeremy Renner's suit microfans buzzed. Sound mixers recorded actual Mark III's to capture that claustrophobic whir. One Gulf vet walked out mid-supermarket scene, saying the cereal aisle emptiness was more terrifying than the IEDs. Shot in Jordan minutes from real mortar craters, Bigelow's set occasionally halted for nearby explosions. Cast mistook them for cues. Low-budget $15 million gamble became first female-directed Best Picture. Realism so sharp, it cuts long after credits. 9. We Were Soldiers, 2002. Mel Gibson's Ia Drang meat grinder aimed for authenticity so brutal that veterans of the 1st Cavalry walked out during the napalm splash that melts skin like candle wax. Director Randall Wallace hired Lieutenant General Hal Moore as consultant. When Moore wept at playback of the Broken Arrow sequence, Wallace knew he'd nailed the horror. Practical FX crew used 1,400 squibs in one take, a record. Budget $75 million. Theaters posted extremely intense warnings. Even the bagpipes at the memorial montage are recorded from Moore's actual regiment. 10th Jarhead, 2005. Sam Mendes again, this time desert boredom turned dizzy. Gulf War Marines laughed at the dehydration jokes until the oil well inferno. The roaring black rain made one Desert Shield vet collapse in the aisle, muttering, "I can't breathe that again." Cinematographer Roger Deakins shot through real crude oil mists and 110-degree glare. Actors suffered heat stroke. Scenes stayed. Budget $72 million. Box office modest. But the sand-caked authenticity keeps Marines recommending it as deployment déjà vu. 11th. Restrepo, 2010. This documentary dropped a camera into Afghanistan's Korangal Valley for a full deployment. No script, no actors, just 20-year-olds under daily RPG rain. Veterans expected a slideshow. They got dead friends on a 30-foot screen. Multiple infantrymen at GI Film Fest showings walked out when medic Doc swabs blood from a buddy's blown open neck, while rounds ping off rocks. Directors Tim Hetherington and Sebastian Younger lug 60 pounds of gear, refuse body armor to match soldiers' loads. Budget under $1 million, emotional cost incalculable. Hetherington was killed covering Libya months later. There's no score, no narrator, just heartbeats and sobbing over radio static. 12th, Hacksaw Ridge, 2016. Andrew Garfield's Desmond Doss drags 75 wounded off Okinawa cliffs while tracer rounds slap stone inches from camera. Pacific vets at advanced screenings reportedly bailed, saying Mel Gibson's sound mix resurrected Banzai Charge Banshee screams they'd buried for 70 years. Gibson turned set speakers to 120 decibels so actors couldn't hear director cues. Pure chaos. The flamethrower burst that toasts a Japanese bunker used real napalm gel. Crew hoses stood by. Budget $40 million, 5 Oscar nominations, and a newfound respect for medics everywhere. 13th American Sniper, 2014. Clint Eastwood reframed urban warfare through Chris Kyle's scope. Iraq vets exiting multiplexes reported muscle memory trigger squeezes during slow-motion dust storms and rooftop hides. Eastwood fired blanks from suppressed rifles inches off microphones to capture sonic cracks that make Dolby Atmos shiver. Bradley Cooper packed on 40 pounds and trained with SEALs. One instructor said Cooper's breathing control was deployment ready. Budget $59 million. It shattered January records with $547 million global gross. For some vets, the baby stroller firefight felt too recent, too raw. Proof the most piercing bullets can be pixels and sound waves. 14. Lone Survivor, 2013. Peter Berg stuck cameras on Navy SEAL stunt doubles, ordered them to hurl each other down 40-foot cliffs. No CGI pads. Marcus Luttrell, the operation's lone survivor, was on set daily and twice asked Berg to show less blood. Berg refused. Veterans at base screenings reportedly left during the bone crunch tumbles, saying every branch fracture echoed their own. Berg dragged a $40 million budget across the New Mexico mountains and spent half on blank fire ammo. Local hunters called in false firefight reports. Sound designers layered Taliban gunshots with actual SEAL recordings. Your subwoofer might get PTSD. 15. 1917, 2019. Sam Mendes, one-shot WWI Odyssey traps you in a trench sprint with nowhere to hide. British WWI historians, some descendants of Tommies, left preview screenings shaken, comparing the rat infestations and corpse-choked craters to their grandfather's diaries. Roger Deakins choreographed 6-minute takes where extras detonate TNT just yards off lens. One miscue singed George McKay's eyebrow, left in the cut. The night flare scene lights no man's land with real magnesium arcs that hiss like gas shells. Vets of modern artillery reported flashbacks. Budget $90 million. Realism priceless. Awards, shelves groaning. Roll credits, or hit pause and breathe. These films aren't just entertainment, they are memory minefields. Tread lightly,